Hey, it's Christine here, and I'm going to share just a few quick tips for using acrylics, especially if you've never used them before or if you're used to more opaque mediums like watercolors. So let's get started. Now, before you start painting, you want to make sure that you're wearing clothes that won't get ruined because acrylic paint will stain your clothes. Although, if you wash it out right away, you should be safe. So, I've got my paint clothes on. I've also got a couple sizes of brushes in different shapes. It's nice to have a round one and a flat one. And I've just got a few colors of paints. I've got my primaries and then black and white. I've got some paper to demonstrate on and some water and also a paper towel because I really like to clean my brush off a bit before I go and wash it in the water. Then my water stays clean longer. So uh, let me just show you a few things first. So these are opaque, and so that means you can't see through them. And depending on the quality of paint, they're more or less opaque. Higher quality paints are more opaque. But anyway, let me just get a few swatches down. And I'm using this nice flat brush, and that makes it really quick to cover large areas. Like if I was going to do a big blue sky. So it's nice to just make some swatches to know what you're dealing with. So these are the primaries. And so, of course, you can buy colors separately. And I'm just using these easy to find Deco Art liquid acrylics. You can buy every color you want, or you can practice mixing. And this is not a class on how to learn color theory, but, if I was to mix some yellow with some blue, and I'm just being really careful there, I would get a green, right? And my brush is a little bit dirty, so it's kind of showing some other colors there. So if I clean off my brush and I rinse it, and if I mixed blue and red, I'd get some kind of a purple. And it really depends what color shade of primaries you start with, whether you're going to get really truly secondary colors. Okay, so anyway, that's an example of mixing colors. Now, to make a color lighter, you don't add more water, you add white. So in watercolors, you would just thin out the color. But it's important to use a brush that's quite dry. Otherwise, it'll be thin and streaky. So like if I wanted to make a lighter version of blue, I would get a little pile of white because I don't want to get my white dirty, and I dry off my brush and add just this tiniest touch of blue. And then that's more of a sky blue, right? So that's very easy to quickly lighten a color by adding white. Now, you could also, of course, darken a color by adding black. And again, you would start with, in this case, I would start with the blue and add just a little bit of black to it because black is so strong. And I would just touch a teeny bit and it will darken that very quickly. And so, again, my brush is a little bit dirty, so this is looking more black than blue. But I can really easily modify that. If I want, while it's still wet, I can add a little bit of blue on it there. So you can pretty easily change your colors by adding black or white. Now, there's a couple different techniques for changing your color. And since these are opaque, it's easy to change the color. Now, if I just wanted to make this a deeper, richer yellow, I would just put another layer on there. And the higher the quality of acrylics, the fewer times you have to do this. But cheaper student grade acrylics sometimes require 2 coats. Okay. Now, these paints are dry now, dry to the touch. So if I'm adding another layer on top, this is what we call dry brushing. So if I wanted to add some texture to this blue, I could especially dry my brush and maybe just, if I wanted to add, like, let's see, a little bit of white. If I was just going to add a little bit to give some textures on that blue, then I could do that very lightly, and that would sit on top of that like that. So that's a, dry brushing technique. And if I was to use my other brush for the same thing, it would look a little different because it's pointed, right? So if I went over here, I could add some little lines. They'll look very much maybe like fur. Okay, so that's what we call dry brushing, where you're going to add some paint onto a surface that's already dry. And acrylics dry very, very quickly. So I'm not sure if you can see that texture, but you can easily add some texture. Now, another thing you can do is called wet in wet, and that's where I would paint some fresh paint like this yellow, and pretty much immediately before it dries, I would go in with a different color. And so maybe I wanted to modify it a bit with blue. And so I would be just doing that right away. And you can see that those colors are blending together because the yellow and the blue are both wet. And so I'm getting some little patterns in there. So that's called wet in wet. So those are a few ideas for you. So I hope this quick introduction to using opaque acrylics was helpful and that you'll try them out yourself. Okay, take care. Bye.